Welcome to the deep dive. So you sent over some really interesting stuff recently, all focusing on fear. And one idea really leaped out at me.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
This kind of backwards take on it, that fear isn't this signal telling you to hit the brakes, but actually, maybe it's a green light.
Ah, yes. That's a big shift, isn't it? It really is. Because our instinct is usually to, well, run away from scary feelings.
Totally. Avoidance mode.
Exactly. But this material challenges that head on. It suggests those uncomfortable butterflies in your stomach feelings. They might actually be pointing towards something really valuable.
Right. This fear is a compass idea. Like it's an internal GPS, but for growth, maybe, not the easy route.
Precisely. It's directing us towards the things we actually want, but that feel a bit intimidating.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive then is to really unpack that, understand how this fear compass works, and maybe figure out how we can all start using it.
Yeah, let's do that. Because the central idea, the core premise, is that fear often pops up right at the edge.
The edge one.
The edge of your comfort zone. You know, that place where everything feels safe, predictable, controlled. Fear signals you're thinking about stepping outside that.
Okay, I get that.
And the material argues that just beyond that edge, that's where the real development happens. The confidence boost you're looking for, the breakthroughs, they're usually waiting there.
So that feeling of unease, maybe that nervous energy,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a danger, Will Robinson warning.
Not always, no. It could be highlighting a growth opportunity. Instead of automatically retreating, the idea is to pause and ask, okay, what's this feeling really about?
Interesting. So it's less about being fearless and more about interpreting the fear differently.
Exactly. And that leads right into this mindset shift they talk about.
Yeah.
The run toward fear approach.
Okay, run toward fear. Sounds intense.
It does, but it's not about being reckless. That's a key distinction the sources make.
Right, not about ignoring actual danger. That seems important.
Very. It's more about recognizing that internal resistance, that hesitation, and getting curious about it. Why does this specific thing feel scary? What am I potentially avoiding?
And what's the flip side? What's the potential reward for pushing through that feeling?
Precisely. It's tuning into that feeling that something matters, even if it's daunting.
Yeah.
And there was that one line that really struck me. Your fear knows your potential before you do.
Ooh, I like that. What does that mean, though?
Well, it suggests that the things that scare us often align with capabilities we have but haven't quite owned yet, things we could do if we pushed ourselves.
Wow. Okay, that reframes things quite a bit.
Doesn't it? And the material used Brene Brown as an example, remember? Her big TED Talk on vulnerability.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Terrified, apparently.
Totally terrified, scared of judgment, scared of, putting her real self out there like that. But that talk, that vulnerability.
That was the breakthrough. Huge impact.
Exactly. Her willingness to face that massive fear led directly to this incredible connection with millions. It's such a clear example of how moving through the fear can unlock something amazing.
It really is. It makes you think, what are those things I'm avoiding just because they feel a bit scary? What opportunities were sitting there just waiting?
And maybe the goal isn't to somehow magically eliminate the fear.
To ask.
Yeah.
What's on the other side if I just walk through it?
Yes. And look, that can feel massive, which is why the material also introduces something really practical.
Okay, practical's good. What is it?
They call it micro-bravery.
Micro-bravery.
Okay.
Sounds manageable. Not go wrestle a bear.
No, definitely not. It's about building courage incrementally, like exercising a muscle.
How does that work?
You intentionally do small things, daily if you can, that trigger just a little bit of fear. Tiny actions.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, asking that question in a meeting when you'd normally stay quiet, saying no to something you don't actually want to do, hitting send on that email you've been sweating over.
Oh, okay. Applying for that job that feels like a stretch? Posting something you created online?
Exactly, those kinds of things. They seem small on their own, right? But each one is like laying a brick.
A brick of courage.
Sort of. Each small act teaches your brain, hey, that was scary, but I survived. It wasn't fatal. It recalibrates your fear response.
So it's like feedback. Fear becomes feedback, not a full stop.
You got it. And over time, these small acts build up. They reinforce this belief.
I can do hard things.
Yeah.
I like that. It prepares you for bigger stuff down the line.
It absolutely does. You're essentially training yourself not to be paralyzed by the feeling. And the material shared some great stories about this, too.
Oh, yeah. Examples are always helpful.
Well, think about Kevin Hart. Early days, getting booed off stage multiple times.
Ouch. Yeah, that's going to be rough. Public rejection like that.
Wow. Most people would probably quit, right? The fear would be overwhelming.
I certainly might.
But he used it. He learned from it, tweaked his act, built resilience. The fear was like this intense training mechanism for him.
So the fear didn't stop him. It kind of fueled him, sharpened him.
In a way, yeah. It showed him where he needed to improve. Then there's Oprah.
Okay, Oprah. What was her fear story?
Early in her career, being told flat out she wasn't right for TV news.
Yep.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's a major knockback, especially in that industry. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failure.
Huge fears. But she didn't let that define her. She leaned into her own style, her authenticity, even though that felt vulnerable. Probably scary, too.
And that vulnerability, that authenticity, became her superpower, really.
Precisely. Facing the fear of not fitting the mold led to this incredible global connection. It shows you shouldn't let other people's judgments or your own anxieties limit your potential.
Makes sense. Who else?
Steve Jobs, getting fired from Apple, his own company.
Oh, right. That's colossal.
Yeah.
Talk about fear of failure, rejection, humiliation even.
Absolutely devastating, you'd think. But what did he do? He didn't just crawl away.
No, he started Pixar, right? And NXT.
Exactly. He channeled that fear, that uncertainty into creativity, built something new. And eventually that path led him back to Apple, but with this whole new perspective, led to the iPod, iPhone, game changers.
So even massive setbacks, things that trigger enormous fear, can actually pivot you towards something even greater.
It seems so. Based on these examples, it really hammers home the point, doesn't it?
Yeah, that success or achieving big things, it's not about not feeling fear.
No, it's about, as the material called it, fear walking.
Fear walking. Just keep moving even when you're scared. Acknowledge the fear, but don't let it steer the ship.
That's the essence of it. Which brings us back to you, listening right now.
The practical application part.
Yeah. The material had a very direct prompt. Identify one specific fear, something you know is holding you back.
And they listed common ones, didn't they? Fear of judgment.
Fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of starting over, things many of us grapple with.
So pick one, really pinpoint it.
And then, importantly, name it. Own it. Don't just think about it vaguely.
Yeah.
And then,
The call to action.
yes, take one small step.
Today.
Not tomorrow, not when I feel ready. Today.
Right. Just one small thing to address that specific fear. Send the message, make the call, share the idea, speak up, whatever it is for you.
And again, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering, just movement.
Exactly. Break the pattern of avoidance. Start building that micro-bravery habit right now. Initiate.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. The big takeaway seems to be that fear isn't going anywhere. It's part of the human deal.
Pretty much. It's baked in. But we get to choose how we relate to it.
We can see it as a stop sign.
Or we can see it as a signpost. Information, pointing towards something that might be important even if it feels challenging.
And the choice is ours, ultimately. Run from it. Stay in the comfort zone.
Or lean in, run towards it, explore what's on the other side.
Because that potential, the stuff we really want, is often waiting right there, just past the fear.
That's the invitation, isn't it? Be brave enough to go get it. Definitely something to think about. Maybe here's one last thought to chew on after this. How might deliberately embracing fear, even in those tiny, everyday ways, actually change the entire trajectory of your biggest goals? Really think about that. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.